Hey, Hannah, I wanted to talk to you about something. Do you think you could maybe become a little bit more, how can I say this, interesting?
More interesting? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that.
It's just, I've been thinking lately, you're a super mature, smart, responsible, strong, independent girl, and I really like that about you. But at the same time, if we're gonna get married, that means we're gonna be together forever, right? And if I'm gonna be with someone for the rest of my life, I'd rather she be someone who's more fun to be around. You get what I'm saying?
No, I really don't. But as much as I don't want to think this is the case, are you trying to tell me that you're having second thoughts about getting married to me?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Jeez, Hannah, relax a little, will ya? You don't need to get so negative all the time. But I was thinking about my ex-girlfriend the other day, and I couldn't help but compare the two of you. One of the biggest differences between you is that she is way more interesting than you are.
Okay, well, that isn't exactly the sort of thing I want to hear from the man I'm going to be marrying in just a few days. If that's how you feel, why don't you marry your ex-girlfriend instead of me?
There you go again. I told you that's not what I'm saying. Take a deep breath, okay? Me and Shawnee broke up. It's over between us. She's married to another guy now. We're just friends now. I happen to like our relationship better now than back when we were dating. I'm not interested in marrying her anymore, okay? Remember, you're the one that I proposed to, so have a little more confidence in yourself.
If that's true, then why are you bringing up your ex-girlfriend right now? Worse, why are you comparing me to her and asking me to be more like her?
Look, you're virtually the perfect woman. You've got it all. You're gorgeous, you've got a great figure, you have a successful career, your family's loaded. Seriously, you're a way different type of woman than all my past girlfriends. If you just had this one thing, then you wouldn't be virtually perfect, you'd just be perfect.
I guess I can understand where you're coming from. But if it's so important to you that the woman you spend your life with is interesting, then maybe I'm not the person you should spend your life with.
No. You are definitely the girl for me. All I'm saying is that I wish you would be a little bit more interesting. What do you say, Hannah? Do you think you could maybe work on that portion of your personality a little bit?
I'm not really sure what to say. I mean, my personality is a result of the life I've lived up until now. I don't know if it's really possible to change it at will like you want me to. Not to mention, I don't even know what you mean by interesting. It's a pretty abstract concept. Can you be more specific?
I guess you wouldn't really get it, would you? I don't know, I guess I mean like having a better sense of humor? I think the only way I can make you understand is to show you what I mean. I'll think about a good way to show you. Give me some time, okay?
Our wedding's in just a few days, so I question the timing here. But, okay, I'll give you time.
Hey, where'd you go, Hannah? Come on, you can't really be that sad, can you? I mean, you just started crying your eyes out and darted out of the room. Didn't you like the surprise? It was hilarious. I mean, the groom's ex-girlfriend smashing a piece of cake into the bride's face? It's comic genius.
What the hell were you thinking, you complete moron?
What? You want me to give you a lecture on the comedic thought process? It's pretty simple, really. It's like a satirical revenge scene. How dare you take my man away from me? Get it?
Oh, I get it just fine. But you, however, don't seem to get it at all. Do you really have no idea what you've done? Shut up! Go and get that imbecile ex-girlfriend of yours and come to Hannah's dressing room immediately! You've got a lot of apologizing to do.
What the? Why are you talking in third person? And why do you want me to come to your dressing room? Oh, I get it. You don't want to wait until tonight, huh? Nice, I'll be right there.
You bumbling moron, this isn't Hannah! This is your father speaking! Hannah's not in any condition to be talking to a foul little creep like you right now. That's why I'm dealing with you, so she doesn't have to. Now, stop whatever you're doing, grab Shawnee, and get over here this instant!
Oh my God! Dad? Is that really you? But I thought you were still in the chapel. Don't tell me you actually ran after Hannah.
Of course I did. Someone had to undo the damage you did. If you're not here within the next 60 seconds, I'm going to drag you here myself.
Hannah, I am so sorry for what happened at the wedding. I never thought you would have reacted like that. But once I saw how mad my dad was, it became crystal clear to me how badly I messed up. So, won't you please forgive me?
Never! We were never meant to be together right from the beginning. I see that now. The wedding is canceled. Our engagement is canceled. We are canceled. I am done with you forever. It's just like I told you at the wedding.
I know that's what you said. I'm trying to get you to change your mind. I feel really bad about what I did.
What happened to comic genius, huh? Honestly, what is wrong with you? How could you ever have thought that was funny? You have an appalling lack of common sense, not to mention common decency. It wasn't bar night with your buddies. It wasn't a comedy podcast. It wasn't a prank video. It was our wedding. I spent all morning getting my hair and makeup just right, and then at the very beginning of the wedding, you get your ex-girlfriend to come up to me and smash a piece of our wedding cake into my face? I know you probably didn't notice, but while you were busy laughing your full head off, everyone in the room was paralyzed in shock. Even Shawnee started to back away sheepishly once she saw everyone's reaction. There was no one laughing but you.
But it was funny. I've been laughing my head off the last few days just imagining it. Don't you remember what we talked about a few days ago? I told you I'd show you what I meant by having a sense of humor. I talked with Shawnee about a joke we could pull off at the wedding. That was the idea we came up with.
Wow, Matthew, every single text that you send me only makes you look like even more of an insensitive jerk. You thought that was funny? What about all the people in the room, huh? Did you think about how they would feel? Did you think my parents would appreciate that? Think about it. It's their daughter's big day, the moment that they've been waiting for all her life. And then she gets humiliated by her own fiance? Did you really think they'd find that funny?
Well, yeah.
My God in heaven, if you really thought that would be funny, then you should go marry someone who agrees with you. You said Shawnee was already married, didn't you? Well, isn't that a shame? Maybe you could go and talk to her husband and convince him to divorce her for you.
Hannah, please, I am in super big trouble. I had no idea that your dad had agreed to make a massive investment in my dad's company. No one ever told me about that.
Yeah, I was in the same boat as you. I didn't know either. Apparently, this was all decided in secret somewhat recently. They didn't want to influence our relationship with their business dealings, so they never told us about it. I'll bet your father never would have guessed you'd go and do something as boneheaded as this, though.
My dad is scary mad at me. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he disowns me as his son at this rate.
Oh yeah? Well, that sounds like a great plan to me. I hope he cuts you off completely.
Please, don't talk like that. You don't understand. I'm in danger of becoming completely isolated from my family. I told you that I was going to take over my dad's company for him someday, right? I've been working my entire life in order to make that happen. If my dad kicks me out, all that hard work would have been for nothing. So please, Hannah, please.
I don't see any reason why I should swallow my pride, cope with the shame, and marry you just to save your future. What's in it for me? I would only be condemning myself to a lifetime of misery.
No, you won't have to worry about that. I swear, I'll make you the happiest woman in the entire world.
I don't believe a single word you say. It's all just a bunch of noise with zero substance.
I'm telling you, that's not true. I really do feel bad about what I did. I promise you, if you marry me, you will never regret it.
My mind is made up, Matthew. We're through. Oh, and since your stupid little prank is what ruined the wedding, then I'll be charging you for the full cost. You had better start saving money now because it's going to be a pretty massive bill. My oh my, isn't this an interesting development? It seems Shawnee's husband is a bit upset at her. He even hired a private detective, so he's got all the photographic evidence that he needs to prove his case. I have to say, considering the way you've been acting, I'm not entirely surprised to find out what was going on. You two have been hard at work betraying our trust.
I have no idea how this happened. Whenever she came to meet me, she always told him that she was going to hang out with her friends. I thought there was no way he would ever find out.
If you were so afraid of him finding out, I think it's a good sign that you shouldn't have been doing it in the first place. To be fair, though, I was starting to get pretty suspicious myself. I was just about to go out and find a private detective for myself.
Wait, seriously?
Yep, but Shawnee's husband saved me the expense. He even did me the favor of sending a copy of all the evidence the detective gathered. You're an even bigger scumbag than I thought.
Hey, this doesn't concern you anymore. You didn't notice while we were together, and we had already broken up by the time you found out. And I'm already paying you for the wedding, right? So just back off.
Do you think I want to have to deal with this? Shawnee's husband's lawyer called me the other day. He says that he's going to subpoena me for information about what you've been up to. Haven't you caused me enough trouble as it is? Now I'm getting dragged into a divorce battle between your mistress and her husband.
You're right. I'm sorry.
All you ever did was talk about your ex-girlfriend and how I compared to her. You even worked together with her on a plan to humiliate me at our wedding. I'd love nothing more than to never have to speak to you again. But now I'm gonna have to get a lawyer and be deposed because of you. Well, guess what? You're gonna pay for that too.
No, Hannah, don't do that. I'm already getting squeezed dry as things stand. Not to mention the stress from my life coming crashing down around me is overwhelming.
Yeah, and whose fault is that? You expected sympathy for your stress? How can you still be thinking about no one else but yourself? You had your fun at others' expense, and now the bill is coming due. You cheated on me, emotionally abused me, and humiliated me at our wedding. You disappointed your parents immensely, and even did massive damage to your dad's business. How do you think your victims all feel right now? I guarantee we're under a lot more stress than you. Except in our case, we're not responsible for what's happening to us. You are.
I told you I'm sorry.
Save it. I don't want your apologies. Now, my lawyer is going to send you a bill. It's going to cover the wedding, his legal fees for my deposition, and a healthy amount of punitive damages for my emotional pain and suffering. The number on that bill is going to be lower than I could demand from you. If you even think about blowing me off, I will file a formal lawsuit against you and completely destroy you. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Hi there, Hannah. It's me, Shawnee. I wanted to tell you how sorry I am for everything. My relationship with Matthew, the wedding, I am really sorry for everything. Shawnee, what do you want? I think you know that I'd rather not speak to you unless it's absolutely necessary. Just so you don't get any ideas, no, I will never forgive you or Matthew for anything. Trust me, I know. I wasn't expecting you to forgive me. Honestly, if I were you, I wouldn't forgive me either. I talked to Matthew and I told him that since I was just as much at fault as he is, then I'm going to pay for half of whatever he has to pay you. Oh, well, isn't that generous of you? I suppose that is only fair, seeing as how it's both of your faults that my relationship ended and my wedding was ruined. I'll be carrying the trauma from that with me for the rest of my life. No amount of money can change that. Honestly, if I had known you would be paying half, I would have demanded more from him. I know, Hannah. I deserve everything I'm getting right now. You can say that again. Your husband's divorcing you, huh? Good. You deserve to have your marriage broken up for what you did to mine. Whatever happens to you and my scumbag ex from this point on is no concern of mine. My only request is that no matter what consequences you suffer, that you suffer quietly and don't bother me ever again. I totally understand how you feel. For the record, I won't be speaking to Matthew ever again either. Huh. Is that so? What a waste. You went and ruined two people's marriages all for your selfish pleasure, and now you're breaking up? Your husband told me the other day that you were crying and begging him not to divorce you when he showed you the evidence of your affair. What a pathetic, miserable little creature you are. Hannah, I know this may not mean much coming from me, but however poorly you think of me right now, I feel much worse about myself. I'm ashamed of the person that I've allowed myself to become, and I know this isn't going to make up for anything I've done, but if you'll give me just a moment of your time, there's something that I thought you should know. I feel like I'm gonna puke every time you send me a message, so whatever you have to say, make it very quick.
Hannah, please, I'm begging you. You have to help me. There's no one else I can turn to but you. Please, Hannah, please, I'll do anything you want, but you have to save me.
I was wondering when I'd be hearing from you. I guess your dad was pretty upset when he found out, huh?
I can't believe it. Were you and Shawnee in on this together? I thought you hated her. Why would you team up against me like this?
Me? Team up with her? Give me a break. I would sooner team up with Jack the Ripper than that harlot. All she did was provide me with some useful information, which I used for my benefit.
What did you possibly stand to benefit? You're just being cruel at this point. I was already gonna get cut off by my dad, and all my family hated my guts. But then my dad calls me out of the blue today, says he wants me to come over to the house. I was thinking maybe he cooled off and was gonna let me back into the family again. But instead, I got attacked from behind by his security guards, and they locked me in one of his company's warehouses. Why is this happening?
You know why. It's because you just can't keep your pants on. It was bad enough that you were cheating on me with your ex-girlfriend, but you were cheating on me with a lot more women than just her.
Shawnee was risky because she was married, but all the other girls were single. I never thought I'd get caught. And to think that Shawnee would go out of her way to tell you about it? She doesn't have the right to screw me like this. She's just as guilty as I am.
Shawnee sure is an interesting woman, Matthew. Even as her life slides deeper and deeper down into an abyss of misery, she still has the wherewithal to grab you by the leg and drag you down deeper. That takes a lot of guts, and I'm impressed, really. You two are both incredibly adept at screwing up other people's lives. I can see why you liked her.
She didn't have anything to gain from telling you. It's not like she's in any less trouble now. My God, that woman is the worst.
I know, it was completely out of spite. Isn't that hilarious? There she was in the middle of getting reamed out by her husband for cheating on him, and then she willingly brings up the prank you two pulled on me at the wedding. Isn't it incredible what someone with nothing left to lose is willing to do? Thanks to that, her husband only got angrier at you, not her. I mean, what else could he do to her besides divorce her? So then he started digging into you to get more information that he could use against you, and boy, did he ever find it.
Hannah, I'm on my knees over here. I know I screwed up. I did absolutely terrible things to you, my parents, and a lot of other people. But you have to do something about this.
Something as in?
If you forgive me and marry me like we planned, then I'm 100% sure that my dad will forgive me too. Well, maybe 50% sure? After you sent the private detective's report to my dad, my chances dropped pretty hard.
I had to make sure that you would face the consequences, Matthew. You have caused so much trouble for me. After the wedding, I had to get deposed by Shawnee's husband's lawyer, get my own lawyer, bill you for all the costs. And now I have to personally see to it that your dad punishes you properly for your horrible behavior. Ugh, what was I thinking when I accepted your proposal? If I could go back in time, I think I would go back to the day you and I met and punch myself in the face.
Hannah, I am very aware that I did wrong by you, and I swear to God that I will do anything that you ask of me, literally anything. But please, for the love of God, you have to save me from my dad. If you don't do something, then he's gonna have me fixed.
Fixed? You mean...
Yeah, fixed as in snip, snip.
Wait, seriously? Awesome. Those two little danglers are the source of 99% of your problems and mine, aren't they? Chopping them off seems like the best possible solution to me. Wow, your dad is a really interesting guy. Why was a guy as boring as you surrounded by so many interesting people?
How can you be making fun of me at a time like this? You know what's about to happen to me.
Yeah, and I'm going to enjoy every second of it. Can you call me and put the phone on speaker while they're doing it? No pictures, though. Please, God, no pictures. And it's not like you have any choice in the matter. What's happening to you now is the consequences of being unfaithful. You weren't just unfaithful to me, you were unfaithful to the women you were being unfaithful to me with. That's why Shawnee was so willing to deal with all the vitriol I threw her way and tell me about all your other girlfriends.
I know, I'm a jerk, a creep, a total loser, and I'll do anything you want. You can't just sit by and let me get fixed. If that happens, I'll never be able to get married. You know how much I want kids, right? And you want kids too, right? We can get back together and have kids, a bunch of kids, thousands of kids, as many as you want.
That was before I found out what a vile, putrid, disgusting man you really were. Honestly, I don't think you deserve to pass on your inferior genes to the next generation. Once your dad's done with you, how about becoming a crazy cat lady?
For God's sakes, Hannah, you have to do something. I've learned my lesson, trust me. I'll never mess around with other women again. I'll never talk to another woman for as long as I live. I'll never even look at them. I know that I hurt you really bad, and I'm never gonna hurt you again. I'm gonna spend the rest of my life making it up to you.
You want to make it up to me? Okay, here's what you can do. Get fixed, become homeless, and spend the rest of your life begging for cash in a falsetto tone. Then set up a live stream so I can tune in to hear your high-pitched cries for help. Whenever I need a laugh, I could always watch that scream and revel in your misery.
Hannah, you were never this much of a sadist before. What happened to you?
You happened to me, Matthew. You did.
I know, but don't you get it? I'm terrified. I don't know what's gonna happen to me now.
Neither do I, but I hope it's as painful as possible.
Is there really nothing I can do to get you to forgive me?
That's right. Absolutely nothing. You know, I changed my mind. I think the best thing that can happen to me is for you to be as far away from me as possible. So I'll have your dad send you to some isolated third world hellhole. When I think about it, he's a victim of your escapades too. Maybe I'll tell him that if he cooperates, that I'll get my dad to invest in his company after all. I bet that would convince him.
Please, don't do that!
It's either that or snip snip. Make your choice.
I'll take the third world hellhole.
As you wish. I have to thank you, Matthew. You were right, I was a bit of a stiff before, wasn't I? But thanks to you, I've had more fun in the last few days than I have had in the last few years. You told me that you were going to teach me to have a sense of humor, and you totally kept your promise. Matthew kept on bugging me after that, so I eventually blocked his number. The next thing I did was go to my dad, who was still freshly angry about what happened at the wedding. He went to Matthew's dad and made him an offer he couldn't refuse. My dad would make an investment in his company, albeit smaller than the original amount, in exchange for sending Matthew to a remote wasteland. And just like that, Matthew was on a plane the very next day to a factory run by an acquaintance in a country with, well, less than stellar human rights. And that's where Matthew will remain for the foreseeable future, working himself to the bone for chicken feed. Matthew's dad did allow him phone privileges, so he uses his one phone call a week to call his dad, telling him how miserable he is and begging to be allowed to come home. So, congratulations to Matthew. He succeeded in giving me a sense of humor. Unfortunately for him, that sense of humor is primarily fueled by Schadenfreude.